Hello students, we are going to cover up the whole chapter of is matter around us pure, okay, and it will be covered in the form of flow chart, okay. So matter is classified into pure substances and mixtures, okay. So first of all, pure substance. What are pure substances? They are the substances which consists of one type of particles, okay. Now this pure substance is further classified or divided into what? Compounds and element. Okay, so what are compounds? Compounds are what? The substances which consists of elements present in what? Fixed proportion by mass in it. Like if we are saying what? Sodium chloride, we are writing NaCl. It means here one atom of sodium and one atom of chlorine has formed what? Sodium chloride, and it will be like that only always. It will not be NaCl2 or any other thing. Okay, so this defines the compound. Here if we are having any compound, it will, if we are saying sodium chloride, we will be having NaCl only, nothing else. So these are also pure substances, isn't it? And it is classified into what? Organic compounds and inorganic compounds. When we are saying about organic compounds, it is obtained from what? The living organisms, okay, like carbohydrate, protein and all. If we are talking about inorganic substances, it means it is obtained from what? The earth crust or non-living things or abiotic things. Okay, like for example, we can say aluminum chloride, okay, iron oxide. These are all what? Inorganic compounds. Okay, now coming to the elements. Elements are pure substances. It can't be broken into simpler forms. Suppose if we are saying about a sodium element, okay, so this will consist of sodium atoms only, and how many protons it will consist? It will consist only 11 protons, okay, not 10, not 9, okay. So this is the characteristic feature of this sodium, okay, and so these are what? The pure substances. Okay, now these elements are classified into metals, non-metals and metalloids. So these elements exist in the form of what? Metals, non-metals and metalloids. If we talk about the metals, aluminum, iron, these are what? Metals. What are the properties of metals? They are hard, they are lustrous. Exceptions are there with sodium and potassium. Okay, they produce a ringing sound. They are malleable, they are ductile. Okay, all these things we have studied in the other section of this chapter. Okay, just go through it if you have not understood it. Okay, now non-metal, if we are saying metals, non-metals like what? Carbon, okay, oxygen. These are what? Non-metals. They are not metallic in nature because they are not malleable, they are not ductile, okay, they are not lustrous, they don't produce sound when beaten, they are not having tensile strength. Okay, now come to metalloids. Metalloids are what? They are having the characteristic between the metals and the non-metals. It means they are having the characteristic features of the metals also and non-metals also. Okay, like you can see in this the metalloids like germanium and all. Okay, these all metals, non-metals, metalloids have been studied in detail in the previous section. Okay, so if you are having any confusion, you can go through it. Now come to mixtures. Mixture, homogeneous mixture and heterogeneous mixture. What do you mean by homogeneous mixture? It means it is mixed uniformly. We can't make out the boundary of solute and the solvent. Okay, and so this homogeneous mixture also sometimes we say what? A solution. Like I have said to you, a teaspoon of sugar and water, when you mix it, what happens? You can't make out the boundary of the sugar and the water, and that is a solution, isn't it? And how do we take out the concentration of the solution? Okay, the mass by mass percentage of the solution can be taken out by what? Mass of solute upon mass of solution of into 100, and mass by volume percentage of the solution can be taken out by mass of solute upon volume of solution into 100. Okay, now mixtures, I said you homogeneous mixture where we have seen solution, the particles are very small, okay, uniformly distributed, no boundary of separation. But when we see about the heterogeneous mixture, okay, in this what we see, there is a clear boundary of what? the separation, okay. And here you can see this heterogeneous mixture is again classified into suspension and colloidal solution. Colloidal solution is also known as colloid, okay. When we talk about the suspension, in this the particles are too big, which can be seen from our eyes. For example, if you take the mixture of water and sand, what happens in this? The sand settles down and you can make it out. If it is in the disturbed form also, you can make it out the distributed particles of the sand in the water, and that is what? A suspension, okay. Now colloidal solution, here what happens? The size of the dispersed phase is what is, it consists of two phases, dispersed phase and dispersion phase, okay. So the dispersed phase, size of the particles, you can compare this dispersed phase with the solute. The size of the particles are not so big enough to be seen from our eyes, but yes, when we see the colloidal solution with the help of microscope, we can make out the dispersed phase. Here best example is of blood, milk. These are all what? Colloidal solution. Colloidal solution have what? The property of what? Scattering the light, Tyndall effect it shows, okay. And this in case of a colloidal solution, what is seen? Tyndall effect is seen in case of what? Colloidal solution. Now this is all about what? The matter and its classification. Each and every portion have been explained in detail in the previous section of this chapter, okay. If anywhere you don't understand, go through that section and just make clear your doubt. Now next, separating components of mixture, okay. Here we have studied different techniques, isn't it? First I'm going to say over here is what different, that is separation of miscible liquids, okay. So what all separations we have studied? Separating miscible liquids, separating the solids, separating immiscible liquid, separating the gases, different gases present in the air, and separation of solids from liquids. One by one we are going to study. First, separation of what? Miscible liquids, okay. How can two liquids which are miscible like acetone and water, how can it be separated? It has the difference of what? 25 degrees Celsius and more, so it can be separated by the process of distillation, isn't it? Now next we can miscible liquids we have studied of what? Fractional distillation, in which it consists of, what is the difference between distillation and fractional distillation? Fractional distillation consists of a fractionating column which consists of beads, okay. And this plays a great role in separating the mixtures of miscible liquids having what? Boiling point difference of less than 25 degrees Celsius, okay. So here you can say we can separate what? Petroleum products with the help of what? Fractional distillation, okay. Now separating of solids, okay. Different solids, crystallization. Here we have studied about the example of what? Copper sulfate crystals, okay. From the impure form we can get what? The pure crystal of copper sulfate by forming what? Crystals, isn't it? The phenomenon behind it is what? Taking the impure sample, dissolving it in water, filtering it, impurities are out, and which cannot dissolve, and then after we are getting this clear solution, what we do? We start heating it. One time comes when the crystal starts forming and we get the pure crystals of what? Copper sulfate. Chromatography, the different components of the ink. Components of the ink are in what? The solid form. That can be separated with the help of what? The process of chromatography. Different dyes can be separated by the method of chromatography. Now sublimation, the mixture of salt and ammonium chloride can be separated with the help of sublimation. Here the phenomenon behind it is what? The substance which is volatile, which can be converted from what? The solid into the vapor form easily, can be separated by the process of what? Sublimation. Ammonium chloride, what happens? When we provide heat to it, it changes into gaseous form and gets separated from the salt, isn't it? Now separating immiscible liquids, okay. In this immiscible liquid like kerosene oil and water, we can be separating it by with the help of what? Separating from a funnel. Here density gradient is seen, which is having less density is above and more density is below. As the result, water has got more than density than kerosene. We take it out first and then the kerosene. Okay, separating the gases from the air, it can be done by fractional distillation. Now separating solids from the liquids, there are three processes: filtration, evaporation and centrifugation. Filtration is separating the solid from liquids. Suppose the mixture is of sand and water. Okay, filter it. Sand you will get as residue and water as filtrate. Evaporation, if you are having any like dyes of the ink and water or you can say anything like in evaporation, sugar and water. Okay, you can separate it by this also. What happens, you just heat it and you'll get the salt or the sugar left on the china dish and water will be evaporated. Okay, and then centrifugation, solid components by centrifugation it can be separated like the cream from milk. It can be separated with the help of which procedure? Centrifugation. All these procedures which you have written on the board has been explained in the different sections of the chapter. Okay, you can see it from in that section and you can just clear out your doubt. Okay, so this is all for today. Take care. Have a good day.